scriptures doesn't always come through. So let me give you some specifics in an attempt to annoy you and provoke you. Wealth. Back in the early 1970s, the World Evangelical Council met in Switzerland, in Lausanne. They decided that for Christian believers, a commitment to simplicity of life and voluntary financial poverty was absolutely basic and standard. That's changed. At the same time, just to put some perspective, Methodism on its membership card committed Methodists to sensible giving. But what if to be a Christian is to take a radical approach to wealth and to money, to reject our consumer lifestyles, to challenge the basis of many of our contemporary theories of economics? How different might our church be and our discipleship look? And would it be attractive? Or would it repel? And would that be a good thing? If I haven't annoyed you enough yet, let me give you another example. Violence. For many Christian people, particularly younger Christian folk, they believe that a commitment to non-violence is at the heart of the center of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's a really challenging view. 3 weeks after Remembrance Sunday. What if we returned to the church of the first 300 years, where that sort of non-violence was at the heart of their understanding? What if we demanded that commitment as part of our commitment to Christian discipleship? I'm not in this conversation advocating for either of those positions, but I'm trying to demonstrate what it might be to be countercultural as a church, to stand for different values, and to pick those values that affect each one of us rather than those that just affect a small minority. The third aspect of Robert's book is personal transformation. That's the idea that the individual is called to deny themselves, to die to sin, and that journey towards holiness and healing is often profoundly difficult and profoundly painful for the individual. It echoes that ancient Celtic category of green or blue martyrdom. Holiness as a costly and painful journey. I wonder if that names for you the experience of being a disciple. A couple of years ago, I began attending a 12-step anonymous group for issues around eating. I was really surprised by the people that I met there. Their humility, their seriousness about addressing their issues, their reality about brokenness and sin, and their willingness to work incredibly hard at transforming and rebuilding their lives. It was an important moment for me because I realized that I had never, well, no, not never, but I had rarely come across such commitment amongst Christian disciples. It was a challenge. So when we hear those words that we read from Mark's Gospel earlier on, to deny self, to take up the cross, or words from Paul where he says that we must die to sin, how do we hear them? And what do they mean? And how does that shape the journey that we make as disciples? On the notes that I have prepared for tonight and for our conversations, there's an explanation of what I think those two things mean: to die to self and to die to sin. They're not always straightforward things to understand, but I'd encourage you to wrestle with those understandings and to see how the Spirit leads as you make that journey. Robert's three categories remind us and challenge us that discipleship is a serious thing. Wesley was much influenced by a book called A Serious Call to a Devout and Holy Life, written by William Law. What would a serious call to a devout and holy life look like today? A more recent book, Dietrich Bonhoeffer's The Cost of Discipleship, sums it up even more pithily. What is the cost of discipleship? How much has it cost you? How much are you willing to pay? For Roberts, martyrdom, persecution, and a transformation are serious parts of our discipleship journey, all possibilities that we might encounter and experience. It's our hymns, isn't it, that challenges most. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my life, my soul, my all. Or if you're a bit younger rather, I will offer up my life. Or maybe you're a dyed-in-the-wool Methodist and you know the covenant prayer off by heart. That really is a challenge. How much does following Jesus cost you? How does the Spirit lead? Amen.